In this review video, we're going to look at the domain of a function. Before you talk about domain, really you need to know what is a function. This was our very first review video, so you should know what a function is. As in math, we're really only interested in functions because they have an exact rule for putting something in and getting one thing out. And we don't want to have multiple things coming out because then it gets confusing about who's right in certain areas. Right? Once we have a function, then we can start talking about, okay, what types of things are we putting into the function, and then what types of things are we getting out. So we care about what's going in and what's going out. All right, the domain of a function is simply the set of the things that we're putting in. In most cases, when we're talking about an expression or something, these will just be the x values that we're plugging in. All right, so domain, think x values, and we always know x values are our inputs. All right, but realistically, this could be anything you put into a function. We'll see an example where it's not necessarily x values or numbers, all right, but if you have some kind of weirdly defined function, all right, whatever you're putting in is your domain. All right, so in order to master domain, you should be able to identify the correct domain for all of these: a graph, a square root function, a polynomial, and then a scenario. All right, so we're going to see an example of each of these, all right, as a quick review, but you can also go back to our old units and look at them in more detail. All right, so determine the domain of this function. So when we're given an expression, I like to think, oops, all right, what could go wrong? Because if I know something could go wrong, that's going to affect the domain. If nothing can go wrong, then you can just plug in anything. For instance, if I had like g of x equals x, what could go wrong? Nothing. I could plug in -2, I could plug in 0, I could plug in 5, I could plug in 1,000,000. All right, nothing can go wrong with something that looks like this. All right, so what could go wrong in this function? Well, 6x, just like I just said, 6 times anything, that makes sense. 7 never changes. All right, but here we have this square root, and square roots are a little bit different. So could something go wrong with the square root? And yes, something could go wrong with the square root. You cannot take the square root of a negative number. This is something you just have to know in general. And you can take a square root of a negative, you get a complex number, but when we're talking about graphs and domain, we care about real numbers, so we can't take the square root of a negative in this scenario. So what we need is whatever is inside the square root. In this case, it's 8x minus 2. And whatever is inside the square root, we know it cannot be negative, so it has to be bigger than or equal to 0. All right, so this is always what you're going to do when you're finding the domain of a square root function. Whatever is in the square root is bigger than or equal to 0. I have to add 2 to both sides and divide both sides by 8, 1/4. So my domain is all the x values that are bigger than or equal to 1/4. All right, just notice this equal sign is there because you can take the square root of 0, it's 0. You just can't do the square root of negatives. All right, so this process, whenever you see this square root in your problem, you're going to do something that looks like that. All right, next is a graph, and just remember, domain is the x values, the input. So I'm seeing what x values does this graph hit. Well, I'm not hitting any of the ones to the left, but at -3, I start hitting x values. All right, all of these parts of my graph are hitting these x values along here. And then once I get to there, I'm not hitting my x values anymore. So I'm just thinking about what x values do start. My x is bigger than -3. All right, so everything to the right of -3. And there's this closed dot here. And that closed dot means -3 is included in my answer. So that's why there's this little minus sign, or sorry, equal sign there. So that's the left-hand side of my domain. The right-hand side of my domain is there at 4. And notice this open circle means I don't actually use that endpoint, and that's why there's not an equal sign next to 4. All right, so one thing that students mess up sometimes is A, the direction of the inequalities. All right, but remember the alligator wants to eat the bigger thing, so x is bigger than -3, so the alligator should be going towards x, but it's less than 4 because 4 is all the way to the right. So that's how you know the inequalities are always going that way. And then we start at the smallest thing. The smallest thing is always on the left. X is in the middle of these two things, because all these x values, and 4 is on the far right. So that's how you kind of make sure that you get the order right and it looks correct. Right, next is the domain of this function. All right, this is a quadratic function. All right, and again, whenever you're looking at that expression, you ask what could go wrong? Could anything go wrong if I plug in x into this function? Well, plugging into -7, it's not even possible, so it's just going to stay -7. Plugging in 6x, I can multiply any number by 6, so nothing can go wrong. Plugging into 4x squared, I can square any number. A negative turns into a positive, 0 squared 0, 2 squared is 4. All right, there's no problems with squaring a number. There's no problems with multiplying a number by 4, so nothing can go wrong. And if nothing can go wrong, then my domain is everything. And we just put all real numbers. If you want to be really fancy, you write this. All right, this little R with a double line represents all the real numbers. All right, I'm not expecting you to know that, but if you want to write the least amount as possible, knowing this fancy R is how you write all real numbers. All right, you could also, no, let's just leave it at that. All right, last example. We're looking at a scenario. So there's a function where you put in a brand of soda and you get out the amount of sugar in a 12-ounce can. This is a function because I put in one brand of soda. It only has one amount of sugar. But what is an appropriate domain for this function? And our domain is your inputs. It's the things I'm putting into my function. So I'm putting in a brand of soda. So my domain is going to be brands of soda. So I could put in Coke, put in Pepsi, put in Diet Coke, I can put in Dr. Pepper. All right, you're never going to be able to list every type of soda, but I just want to see the basic idea that you're knowing. The domain is just the things you're putting in. So the domain we're putting in is a brand of soda. List some brands of soda and you kind of put ... That's good enough. All right. One thing that people tend to do when they're doing scenarios, they start trying to connect the inputs and outputs. But if I'm talking about domain, I don't care about what the output is at all. I could be putting in the brand of soda and getting out the price. I could be putting in the brand of soda and getting out the color or something like that. I don't care what the output is at all. All I care is that what's going in is the brand. All right, so that's your domain for this function. All right, last one, determine the domain for the function. Again, it's an expression, so what could go wrong? All right, and you should be able to answer this one yourself about what can go wrong. The square root can go wrong because I can't take the square root of a negative, so I have to make sure whatever's in the square root is bigger than or equal to 0. And that's the whole problem. I can only plug in non-negative numbers into this expression. All right, again, no skill check for these review things. Just make sure you're looking through the practice problems, doing them, then comparing your answers, and then just kind of figure out what you're not comfortable with yet. All right, normally when you see these things again, they kind of refresh in your mind quicker than the first time you learned them. So hopefully it's kind of going, the process is pretty quick. But if you ever get stuck and there's one thing you can't figure out, then just work with me to kind of figure out what you're missing and not seeing to get that skill solidified in your head.